SEO This Week. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of SEO This Week. Thank you very much for joining. And with that, how about we just jump right in and skip all the crap? All right, our first article is Moz Whiteboard Fridays by Caitlin Hathaway, and it's about repurposing your AI or your content with AI. And mainly it's actually talking about your evergreen stuff. So if you don't know what evergreen is, like what is SEO? For me, if I was going to do an evergreen piece of content, the topic of what is SEO is evergreen. Like the methods of doing SEO are always going to change. They change on a daily basis, but the concept in itself, search engine optimization, will always be the same. So that piece of content will be evergreen. Now, when you're tackling an evergreen piece of content, generally it's going to have a lot of nuance to it. SEO, in the example that I said, is technical SEO, on-page SEO, off-page SEO. You can look at it that way. Link building, page speed optimization, schema. The list can go on and on and on and on and on, right? I mean, The Art of SEO is a book, and I think that's got close to 1,000 pages in it. I'm not entirely know that that's correct, but it's a thick-ass book. So you think about that in regards to, I have this piece of content. Let's say I wrote it 4 years ago. It's not that bad. It's actually pretty good. I keep it updated. It ranks okay. For example, no, don't Google what is SEO. My page does not rank okay. I can tell you that right now. But if you do, if I could take that piece of content now and divide it up into sections and subsections, and I can use AI to kind of work that out. What's cool is not only can I use AI to work out or to expand on that article, I can take different sections of it and expand on those subtopics like page speed optimization, for example. I can talk about JavaScript differing. I can talk about CSS handling. I can talk about inline scripting of styles versus using style sheets. I can talk, and those will all be supplemental pieces of things that I can talk about based off of my evergreen article that I can use AI to facilitate that. So she's got a cool little infographic. Obviously it's the whiteboard thing, but at the end of the day, choose the right content, to repurpose it, pick some new themes, new audiences. For example, if you're in a plumbing thing, or you're a plumbing marketing agency, for example, like how do plumbers benefit from page speed optimization? How do plumbers benefit from schema? How do plumbers benefit from local business schema? How do plumbers benefit from web page schema? That kind of stuff, right? And then break it down into themes using their AI. In my example, the SEO thing, I can go, here's my page that describes what is SEO. Now I want to expand on this topic and talk about more things. Write me an outline of the other things that I could talk about. And that's what you can use AI for, to knock that out pretty fast. And then map themes, platforms, and formats. Basically what that's saying is, not only now, in the past, I've taught, like, if you're going to write an article, why not make it a video and then make it a podcast, and you can do a PDF out of it. You can turn it into different things, right? And Mike Merlino talks about that these days significantly as well. I think so is Bradley Benner and a bunch of other people. So you take, and now you can, with AI, you can not only create your sub piece of content, but you can actually create the imaging for it, image specific stuff like Pinterest and Instagram. You can create a YouTube video, then you can turn that YouTube video into YouTube Shorts, and you can put that YouTube Shorts on your TikTok and your Instagram and your what else? LinkedIn, that kind of stuff. You can multi-purpose these pieces of content and use AI to create different messaging specifically for those. And where you're not always like, if I was going to promote this one, how do you repurpose your content with AI? Then I could create individual to the platform instead of having the same thing. Like, I bet you this says the same thing. Let's go. Have you ever found the purpose overwhelming? Let's see what this one says. That one's blank. Let's see what LinkedIn says. That one's blank. So I could use her process to actually, write unique stuff in each one of those other platforms for that specific artist or specific customer that's on those specific channels to resonate with them. Like, if my Pinterest people are probably more artistic, and they'll resonate more with emotive type of captions and emotive types of supporting images, where my LinkedIn people would probably be more strategic buyers. And so you can change your messaging based off of those platforms, and you can use AI to do it very quickly. So I like this idea. I like the concept behind it, and it shouldn't probably take you very long to make an SOP that you can rinse and repeat over and over again to do this with all of your content. How to pitch podcasts. This is an article by Vince Nero, and it's on BuzzStream. The short version of this is, if you are looking to promote yourself or get promoted by other people and to piggyback off of their audiences, etc., and you have something to offer their audiences, it's not going to kill you to reach out and ask. This comes with a real easy, simple template. I read over the templates and I'm like, I don't even know if I would reply to these, and I have SEO This Week, right? But if you get something along the lines here and get and think about, hey, I've listened to your podcast. I've seen you had these other guests that talked about X, Y, and Z. Here's my thoughts on it. I was wondering if it's possible for me, if you have openings for guests, if I could attend or not. And here's what I would like to talk about. You do all that legwork, and you actually save them a little bit. If you go beyond just this and do the legwork, like, here's some questions that I think should be answered in regards to this topic, etc., then you can actually outline their whole show right off the bat. And so don't look at this necessarily like, I'm going to take these things and spam everyone and try to get into their podcast. But look at it as, here's some cannon fodder ideas and how you could possibly approach this. Think about how you could do it in a way that makes you way unique from everyone else. Like, if I fired up a link assistant, for example, and I sent off 200 emails, 98% of them are not even going to get read, because everyone just reads the same, just whatever, just delete it, right? And you want to be the one that stands out and goes, hey, I want to do a show with you. Here's what I think your audience, here's why I think that would be a good idea for your audience. Here's the questions that I can answer, and here's a summary of the answers that I'll give you. And we can talk about anything else you want in relating to target topics X, Y, and Z. Do you have slots available? And if you don't ask, it's always going to be no. So why not get into this and try to get some yeses? And that's how you promote yourself. It's the same as if you were on a speaking circuit, or you were bouncing around and with your buddies on their YouTube channels, like you see me do a lot. I get on other people's YouTube channels. You're just leveraging podcasts. It's another platform. Hidden keywords are back, and it's still a terrible idea. I don't even pretend. It's crazy egg. So the short version of this is, everyone's saying how white text on white text background this is always the hidden text thing that everyone uses. CSS styling, it's not actually CSS if it's hidden in the HTML. The styles are part of standard HTML. Display none in this example is a standard HTML. It's not CSS. Off-screen positioning, I don't know anyone that's still using that, but okay. And then alt text and mega tag stuffing. So what she's claiming now is that, it never stopped working with Penguin and Panda, and now it's people are trying to do it with AI. And AI doesn't work that way, because we've seen a lot of studies saying that AI would actually rip out all of the HTML and just provide the bots with this. That's why you have that LMTXT file that we talked about a couple weeks ago. It's essentially what it is. It's a ripped down, no nonsense version of the page. So a lot of this, overloaded schema, prompt like meta, put prompts in the metadata. That's kind of weird. I've never seen that one. That would be interesting to test. I really want to test that prompt like ideas in the metadata. That seems interesting to me. This doesn't work. I can tell you that right now. It's a no index zone, and Google's not leveraging it for ranking of pages. It may or may not work with help with the context of the page. But from everything that I can see, if you can do that with a schema in the beginning, then HTML comments, I don't necessarily know that would work. I haven't tested it though, but I know that you can't put keywords in this and rank for those keywords because Google is ignoring comments. Same with this long list of semantic related phrases. I know this works. But you don't need a long list. You need to have it relevant to your actual topic. And if you get too broad, you're not going to rank for your topic. So this is a little bit true and a little bit false. Prompt like metadata. I really want to test it. Invisible internal links, anchor text hidden in display none or cloaked in expandable menus, linking to other keyword pages. That's dumb. You can use your schema to do that. You can use breadcrumbs to do that. Or you can just link to them. There's really no purpose to do hidden text for SEO or for geo optimization. But here's a example of the prompt injection, just using these in your meta description, your expert reviewer. This seems weird. Or using your OG tags. I'm sure there's better places for do that. And then the idea that, again, it's white hat versus black hat, and here's all these loopholes. And one day Google's going to close that loophole, and one day OpenAI is going to close that loophole. It's just, please. Get some originality in your content at that point. So, but let's test the I want to test this prompt like metadata. That's a very imaginative. So we'll see how that works out. Get brand mentions in AI. This is by Ali Berry in Search Engine Journal. And it's interesting because the main focus is asking AI to tell you about their company. And then talking about breast vans and your et cetera, right? And then asking these questions a lot. And then hoping that Google or the AI's language models are exposed to your website so much. Like, why is, let me go here, go back. So tell me about, and then my company, right? What are the best brands in the vertical, and why is my company one of them? What are the pros and cons of this? And the theory behind this is if you keep doing that enough, you're going to teach the large language model, in theory, that your company is one that gets cited a lot, or should be cited a lot. Downside of this is a lot of these language models are using memory now, so they're already giving you what you want to know, what you want to hear. So if you continue to talk about your business, for example, or if I continue to talk about Digital Ear, for example, and hey, give me the top 10 SEO companies, inevitably, if I keep doing it, is going to say that mine is one of the top 10 because it knows that's what I'm looking to hear. It's not necessarily, or does not necessarily mean that Joe Smo down the street is going to get the same answer out of the large language model. So, I mean, I think you can find some better uses of your time. Using credible citations and quotes in content. This is linking back to, and the idea is if you link back to, like, if I do an article about Firebase Studio, and I link to Firebase Studio, then I am somewhat more credible than someone who didn't. Or if I use, according to source, etc., those type of things, ergo, it makes me more credible. Now, from a user perspective, I can see it. Like if I see that someone actually researched an article and is giving me sources, and AI written or human written, I'm going to give it more credence. But is that really the case in regards to AI? Like, why would AI cite me because I did an article when I can just go back and cite the specific source, right? It would skip the middleman, as it were, and go to the source, assuming that it actually did really good research. And those are hit and miss, and you all know. This is actually a pretty good one. Prominent databases and forums, prominent sources. Reddit is one that's popular. Quora, I wouldn't necessarily worry too much about Wikipedia. Could they be using it? Maybe. Webarchive.org, that kind of thing. If you can get it there, I'm assuming they probably scrape those. But the more mentions in association with your topic on these sites where the data, the teaching data or learning data, whatever the term is collected, could potentially result in you showing up in the databases more. But remember, that was in the beginning when they were training the models. And the models now have all these unique users. They have more access to way more data than they had before. So that pot the requirement pot, like to get in there, is actually increased significantly. Like you're not just going to go put some subreddit threads on and all of a sudden become the best at X. You have to be shown a lot, and you have to be on other people's websites, and you have to be doing, getting links, and you have to get prominence, and people have to start talking about you, and then they have to start talking about you in their chat, in their AI things, etc., to actually get really embedded into that. Because otherwise, it's just going to do what it does now, and that's generate for the user or the AI searcher information that they think they want based off of their previous histories. So be careful trying to invest in a whole lot of this madness. A lot of this is really the G in GEO, generative engine optimization, actually stands for guess engine optimization, because no one really can definitively say that any of these methods work or don't work, for that matter. And as the models continue to progress and change and develop, and they release new models, it's even faster paced than search engine optimization, where they're releasing new core updates, etc. Google Discover coming to desktop. This awesome, I think. If you've ever been worked on a website that has a significant Google Discover presence and gets significant traffic from Google Discover, then you're missing out, because Google Discover really is a goldmine for traffic from targeted audiences. And if you can if you're lucky enough to get in there and to stay in there and get repeat traffic over and over again, and let's say you're using like an Ezoic or what's the other one? Ezoic for sure. But if you're using like a Google AdSense Choices or display advertising type of platform, and you pop Google Discover consistently, you're going to make money. So I think it's awesome that Google Discover is coming to desktop experience for both publishers and for users. And the consistent question is, how do you force it? How do you make sure that you show up in there? And I think a little bit of that is going to actually be you. Like if you have teams and stuff, make sure that they, engage with your content. They're signed in. And then as that Google Discover pops more and more, you should do a better job of getting in there. It's not easy to get in Google Discover consistently. It's heavily driven on the brand, and it's heavily driven on the promotions. But you can do it. And once you start doing it and start doing it consistently, you can monetize it. So this is a good thing. It really is for publishers. It gets you out of, potentially gets you out of the mix in the SERPs and screwing around with AI overviews and rich snippets. And people also ask and featured snippets and all that madness, and puts you right there in your target audience's face, which is awesome. NavBoost. There's an API release that came out. It's a Google API release, and whether Google uses it all, it's right here. Whether Google uses it all is up for a debate, but there's a topic in there called NavBoost, and essentially, what it does is it's saying that potentially that Google is using the click data. I think we all know that they're using it. So if you rank number 2, like if I'm ranking down here and I get the click and this one doesn't get the click, then NavBoost will put me up above that. That's essentially the simple layman's version of what NavBoost is. And this article is just going deeper into that, and NavBoost post taking dwell time. We've tested dwell time and never proved to be good, but CTR, pogo tipping, have an effect in organic rankings provide in CTR, like the real CTR, not your CTR bots, real CTR, real searchers, clicking you and number 2 versus the number 1 thing, and eventually you get pushed up to number 1. That's the real CTR. That stuff really does work. So you look at these data signals and some information there that could or potentially encompass all of nav boosting, and so you want to kind of pounce into each and every one of those so you can do a little bit better at it. And so like here's an example of like which SERP feature are you in. You get always clicked in that SERP feature, and then you answer the question, or you have the PAAs and scrolls and all this. These are all potential points where you could screw around with the CTR as well as the design of the SERP pages, right? But you can look at all of these possible things that NavBoost is and how that affects you. So this is why when I do campaigns, I actually tell clients and potential clients that I am only trying to get in the top 3. I want to get in here because the highest click-through rate in the SERP in the search results goes to the top 3. Obviously, there's some nuance to that, feature snippets, AR views, and all that madness. But typically, the top 3 of the organic listings are the ones that are going to get all the credit. And assuming that if I did a good enough job writing a title that is on point that people might actually be interested in, it's got to include the keywords, it's got to include the brand, but you can have a little flair when you do that. You can leverage CTR by just ranking here and getting more clicks, and that'll bounce up all by itself, and you can save a little bit of money versus trying to get the number 1 link thing be your link boosting and your on-page optimization in that. So it's a little bit easier in high traffic keywords to accomplish that. But that's all encompassed under all in NavBoost. So read this out, check it out, and see if you can come up with some testing ideas for NavBoost that we could actually, look at and go, hey, let's see if we can validate some of this stuff. In regards to like website presentation and all that, not in regards to, I get my CTR bot and we can click. We know we can do that. What we don't know is how do we turn it off without losing all of our rankings? Because we've generated this fake traffic for this keyword search and we got the CTR. It's overinflated now compared to what it was. Like, well, what are we doing here? So check this article out. It's actually pretty good. Ruby on Rails, Rails applications. You can add structured data to that. This is I've never done anything with Rails apps. So I was looking at this and I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Like you can use AI now and think about Ruby on Rails and like other platforms. And this is an example of a Rails app. And he's got a book directory, but let's say you did your Bradley Benner, you want to do, a business directory or application repository, that kind of stuff. You can use Ruby on Rails, and this is how you get the schema put into it. This rudimentary schema, of course, but you can take here's the example, for example, and then drop that into Chat GPT or whatever and learn some more about applying that in your Ruby on Rails stuff. And that could potentially help you depending on where you're promoting it. Again, I don't know anything about Ruby on Rails, but this stuff, I know that schema works. I know that all the search engines are using it. It makes sense that AI could use it too. Potentially, if depending on how they're taught to gather data, potentially, there's no proof one way or another that they are, but potentially this would be a good way to leverage that. So check out Ruby. If you're using Ruby on Rails, check out this one and implement structured data into it. I'm gonna actually save this so I can play around with some of that stuff later. Brighton SEO came and went. If you were on X during last week, you saw a lot of leaks from the conference. But here is all of the published decks. If you want, it's unfortunately you don't get to see a lot of the context and stuff like that. But you look at the decks and you can try to kind of figure some things out and what they're talking about, depending on how well their decks are created. I know some speakers just create decks with just images, and you're looking at it like, okay, what the hell is that? And then other ones actually put some context in there, so you can, you get the heading and then a little bit of context that supports their spoken presentation, and then you might get enough information. So I would look at this, see if there's anything in there that's interesting to you. I'm going to use it for testing fodder to see what's going on. Generally, I'll stick in the technical, maybe in the content part a little bit. Not really interested in all of that. And then I think there was one or two in here I wanted to read. But for the most part, the technical and the content part would be, for me, is where I'm going to be. So check this out, SEO FOMO Hub. Again, all the links will be in the description, so you'll be able to access this pretty quickly.
Did you know a press release alone isn't enough? Visibility is key. You need a multi-platform strategy to share your story across news, audio, video, and social media. Welcome to Magic PR, where your press release transforms into a powerful media experience, maximizing exposure and engagement. We distribute your release to top outlets like Yahoo Finance, Bloomberg, Business Insider, and more. Plus, your release is SEO optimized, ensuring better search rankings. But we don't stop there. We turn your press release into a podcast, distributing it across 25 platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud. Then we create a social media content for Facebook, X, and Instagram, and even transform your story into a video press release for YouTube and top media sites. Video drives over 80% of higher engagement, and short form content is king. We make viral videos for your YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and more. At Magic PR, we don't just publish, we amplify. Get your press release seen, heard, and shared everywhere. Visit magicpr.com today and take your brand to the next level. Back to you, Clint.
Tool time. This is AnswerSocrates. I didn't sign up for it yet. There's a free account, and you get one search a day with the free account, and you can see you get a lot of information. All I put in was web design United States, and I got some people also ask. This was lame. You get questions, and there's a whole bunch of different variations of questions. In here, it's kind of like answer the public almost, but it's just in table format. Top of funnel, bottom of funnel, long tail, location type, base keywords, that kind of thing is these little letters here. And then prepositions, comparisons in the past, letters, just word variations off of the letters and stuff. So if you're looking for keyword lists and you're doing some link building, we'll say SEO Neo, for example, you can come in here and just pick a whole bunch of these things and go to town for your, I would probably stick over here for that, for your LSI keywords, etc. When you're link building. And then here's queries and different on point or closer to on point searches for that. So this is called AnswerSocrates. Again, it was free for one. There's the pricing's right here. 5 searches if you sign up. Like I didn't sign up. You can see I can do one if you don't sign in. And then if you're on the free account, you can do 5 searches. And then you do $29 a month, you do 500 searches. Honestly, I can't see a use case for me where I would actually be doing 500 searches a month. So the free one would be just fine. You come in here and do 1 or 2, combine that with your other keyword tools and you'll be okay. So check out AnswerSocrates if you're looking to save a little bit of money. Firebase Studio. This is a full stack AI workplace created by Google. It was released last week. I am looking forward to playing with it, but I really got to come up with an idea in regards to an app, maybe a progressive web app I could make. We'll see how that goes. Probably going to do the progressive web app. I could do the Android app too, for the idea that I have in my head, but we'll see. But I want to learn this and play with it a little bit more and see how it goes. A lot of the documentation is all right here. Again, the links are down in the description below, so you can come right to the documentation and check things out and start playing with this thing. I imagine you can find some projects in GitHub to play with this too if you don't want to mess with this, but you can start prototyping templates and fire off some of the videos and stuff that I've seen when people are actually already creating with this thing, like have full-blown apps in like 30 minutes. So why not you? I will say I have a business partner who is in the mobile app space, and he says it sucks because you always, at the end of the day, downloads and opens is how you make money. It's the ads that are inside of your apps, unless you do a subscription-based app service, right? But it's the ads inside your apps that make you money. And in order to get more downloads, you have to buy more ads, and it's rinse, repeat. And as soon as you stop, the usage goes down and you're replaced, and it's just kind of the cat chasing its tail in the mobile space. So, but that being said, don't let that stop you from trying this out. And even if you don't know how to code, you can mash some buttons and come up with something a little cool in your own eyes, right? So go with that. Another tool, last week I mentioned this guy's WebP converter, and I showed you where to get the code. He's updated it. This is version 3.3 now. I would go to your host and get GhostScript turned on and Imaget if you're going to use this. I'm going to put this on SEO this week, that blog, and try this out. But he's added a whole bunch of new features that people ask for, etc. And all the code is right here. So you just drop it into your site and you'll be off to the races. There's PDF compression, AVI conversion, these two snippets and stuff. That video I just had up kind of explains the installation process a little bit for you and what it does. He is a little bit long-winded. You know me, like here's the instructions. This is how you do it. Done. Right. He is long-winded and gets a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff and why he did and etc. So if you don't want to do that, put that on, 1.5 playback speed, and you'll get a lot more out of that video. But here's the code for it. Again, as I said last week, though, don't put this on, don't go to your money site and drop this in there and press go, because it could break something and then you're screwed. Put it on a testing site. SEOthisweek.com is not built out yet. I could blow it up today and it won't hurt me. So that's why I have no problem putting that on there. And also, as always, he's got a whole bunch more code in here, and he's got some new videos about PDFs and stuff too. So check out his channel. I think you'll like it. Question time. SEO companies said we would lose everything. I work for a small established remodeling company, and none of us are SEO experts. The company, part of Get It, I don't know what that is, says we have good results, but we rarely see our name on searches. We thought we'd stop for a few months to see what would happen, but they said we lose our place that we have worked on for several years and that we wouldn't show up at all in search. Then when we started SEO again, we have to start from the beginning. How does a business change to a new SEO company without throwing years of work out the window? If they did their on-page optimization schema and technical SEO stuff, really they can't take it back unless they revert all of their changes, or they re-upload where your site was in the beginning when they first started. If they did that, they're really shitheads. The other side of it is the off-page stuff. If they're linking to you with, say, their own networks, etc., technically they can just remove all your backlinks, like SEO Nitro, for example. That service is set up as soon as you quit. They go back and all the links that your account made, they delete them and you lost it all. So you pay for a year of SEO Nitro, you get all those credits added up, you build all those links, and then you stop paying. So they delete all the links that you made. And that will cause a drop in your rankings as well. If so, there is that risk. And like when I did it, the way I look at it is you paid me for on-page optimization. You pay me to do backlinks and stuff like that. There's no benefit to me whatsoever to go and just remove all your stuff just because you stopped paying. I'm going to spend just as much time to remove everything as it took to build it in the first damn place. So I'm not going to do that. And I also look at it as you actually paid for it. So when you're getting into an SEO agreement with an agency or a freelancer, ask them that question. If and when I stop, what gets removed? Like, do you stop paying for my local citations updates? Like I do our local citations updates through SEMrush when we run them. Oh, if you stop working with me and I have your local citations fired through SEMrush, I am going to turn those off. Does that mean that those citations are gone? No, because it's Yext. So they're actually building the citations and you just can't update them through the service anymore. Their citations actually stay there, basic citations. But you need to know that. You need to know, are they going to remove backlinks? So if your SEO agency says, hey, we're going to use link networks, or let's say I'm going to buy expired domains, or I'm going to do PBNs, or I have a network of my own websites. Are they going to remove those links that they build for you? That's something that you should know. It's not a deal breaker, in my opinion, if they do that. I mean, I've bought monthly links packages. I was promoting and using SEO Nitro for the longest time. It's not a deal breaker, but you should know that that's going to happen. And in this case, if it sounds like worked on for several years, and we rarely see our name on searches, and he doesn't say specifically what they ranked for or what they didn't, it sounds like it's probably a good time to change scenery in regards to your agencies. It's not necessarily saying they did a bad job. It's just maybe they just weren't right for you, and they didn't have the necessary skills to be in that particular market. It's potential. It happens to everybody, including me. How important are images, infographics to SEO? No assumptions, please. Dumbass addition. All SEO is assumptions. With image searches accounting for 10% of total traffic, it's an interesting statistic that I've never seen, but okay. Do you think investing in creating infographics is beneficial for sites? I don't mean random images, but specific to topical visuals, especially how Google prioritizing AI overviews. As of now, I get 1% of traffic for images for most of the sites I manage. It's web traffic for images versus investing in creating infographics is actually two different things. So for the most part, there are some cases where searchers will go through and go into the images and look for specific infographics to support something that they're researching or whatever, but you're going to actually get more traffic from social media search engines than you are from Google, from infographics. The value of infographics in Google's case is if those researchers see your stuff, your infographic on social media, or they do see it in the web search for images, you can get some backlinks because, especially if you go old school and provide the embed code, so underneath your image. So let's pretend that, this is an image. I could put the embed code here. And if you liked my image and here's the embed code, you just swipe my embed code, go drop it on your website. And now I have a backlink to my infographic. That's essentially infographic, the real benefit of infographics. If you don't do images and you don't do infographics, like let's say you just don't do infographics, at least do images, because there's nothing worse than going to a website that's, if you want to read something like this, and if you want to read a patent, see, even they have images and they have diagrams to break it up and to support the content. So you got to do it. You can't just, I don't get a whole lot of traffic, so I'm not going to do images. It's pretty dumb. It's pretty short-sighted. Can I get some input on the best title for this blog? It's for an app development agency based in Malaysia, targeting a global audience. The key focus keyword I like to target is offshore discount rates by country. That's the keyword. So let's do a little keyword research. Offshore development rates, 90 people a month search for it. Probably in the US. I think it's mine set for the US. So let's go 90 a month search for it. And then there's outsourcing software development, developers, so plenty of supplementals, but outsourcing the software development rates by country. I spent a while compiling developer rates for almost 30 sources, now have a list of average developer rates in most countries, 70 countries across the world. Sounds to me like this is a web page targeting this keyword with a table with that data information in it. This is far more than other results in the search term, and yes, I know Google care less about how do you title this blog to give it the best shot for ranking for this keyword? I would actually just put this right in there. Outsource rates developed by country. It's really that simple. Offshore developed rates vary significantly by country. See, rates by country guide. Offshore development rates, best countries, outsourcing, offshore development rates in 2025. Offshore development rates in 2025. So I go offshore by country in 2025. Tab, brand name. That's how I did it. So I got my primary keyword. I have obviously the 2025 is in here. So Google is looking for this year to be in there. Even if you wanted to, you can go even better. You just rinse and repeat and put that on a monthly update, or you can do a quarter. A monthly might be better, I would think. And then assuming that data refreshes all the time, I don't know that it would, but you could potentially do that. And then you have your brand name in there. So, and then your primary keyword, and then you have offshore software development, offshore software development rates, software development rates by company, development rates in country, offshore software development rates 2025 is covered. The plenty of variations in this title that we created right here. Simple, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Matter of fact, I don't know. I'll do this. Boom. This would be nice. We'll see. One of the moderators in here, this one right here, he's full of shit, and I've called him on a lot of his stuff, and he has me muted, supposedly. So we'll see if that shows up. You guys let me know in the comments in the YouTube video if you can see my comment there. As a matter of fact, so you can test that out and let me know if it's going on. I'll save it right there. It's in the list to go into the descriptions. So, all right, that's it. So we got questions answered, tools given, news covered, a little bit of insight and information. Hopefully it help you out and progress for this week. I'm looking at the questions that are coming on the YouTube channel. You guys aren't leaving any questions in the videos, in the comments. No pressure. You don't have questions. You don't have questions. But just know that it's there. I check those every week. So if you're taking the time to watch the videos and you have a question, put it in the comments down below, and I'll get to it. Otherwise, I'll stick with the Reddits. I got Feedly turned on, and it finds the best questions on Reddit. And then I look in social media places and stuff like that too, for these. And hopefully you're getting something out of these videos. I appreciate you very much. If you're not subscribed, hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next week for SEO This Week.